Welcome back to sgCarMart Reviews. Today we have here one of the most popular cars in the world. And no, I'm not even exaggerating. Not just in Singapore, one of the most popular cars across the world in the entirety of cars. Today we have here a 2008 Toyota Corolla Altis 1.6 VVT-i. Let's take a look. Now, before we head into the review proper, here's something that could protect your wallet from a big hole the next time you buy a used car. We know that car repairs are never cheap or pleasant. That's why when you're searching through used cars on sgCarMart.com, look out for the Tick Shield logo before making your decision. This shield means the car that you're looking at is eligible for our in-house warranty. If, touch wood, your car breaks down or a defect appears, you'll be safe from the massive repair costs. After all, the warranty is underwritten by us instead of your dealer, so you can be sure that there'll be no expenses spared by the workshop in fixing the root cause of your problem. For more details, head on to sgCarMart.com/warranty or click on the link in the description below. Let's go. Now, starting off with the front, look at this color. This is a very popular color amongst Toyota Corolla Altis or even the Camrys. If you see this kind of look from the front, from your rear view mirror, you can tell immediately it's a Corolla Altis or Camry. From that generation, it's a very distinct look, especially in this color. Now the headlights, as you can see, it's pretty normal for cars this kind of age to age, and then they kind of fade out. But a little bit of polishing and you can get back those crystal clear headlights. Down by the front, you also have two little fog lamps to help you see better in the fog. Not really that useful in Singapore, but it's a nice option to have. Over here, you get a very small grille that's not really too aggressive, and it did look pretty classy for its time. Of course, by today's standard, it does look a little bit aged, a little bit old, but back then, it looked pretty classy, and I think it doesn't age too bad. Now onto the side. Now you get 15-inch wheels on this Altis. Now keep in mind, these aren't the stock wheels that the Altis came with, but they don't look half bad. You also get this VVT-i badging. Now what VTEC is to Honda, VVT-i is to Toyota. It stands for Variable Valve Timing and Ignition, and it gives you better power as well as fuel consumption. Now you also get signal repeaters on the side view mirror. This profile for a sedan of its age and time is pretty standard. Any shorter and you'll have a Vios, any longer and you'll have a Camry. You have your exposed key cover here and also on the other side, as well as a little bit of body paneling that helps protect the car door from dings and scratches, whether it's a wall or another car. You do get disc brakes for both the front and rear tires, so it's not just drum brakes for the rear and then you'll get the little squeaky sound after the rain, but it gives you disc brakes, so that's something that not just looks good but also feels good as well. Now onto the rear. Now onto the rear, you get Corolla Altis 1.6 in its badging. You get these very distinct red, white and orange taillights that the moment you see it from afar, you know it's a Corolla Altis. At the bottom, you also get two of these little red reflectors. They're kind of like Pikachu cheeks. Now here's something that you haven't seen from us in a while. To open the boot, you get 475 litres worth of boot space with this sedan. Plenty of space, luggage, no problem. Anti-trolley length test, pass with a big margin. And you don't get to push down the seats from the boot. You have to go into the middle, pull on these little nubs. But for a car of its time, I guess it's pretty good that you can push the seats down already. Now let's check out the rear. Now over in the rear of the Altis, I'm 1.75 meters. You can see this is the head space and this is the leg space. Now this is adjusted for my comfortable driving position. As you can see, there's not much space, but something to remember that this car of 14 years ago, it's not so much that they shrank, it's that the cars of today grew just as we have grown. The cars of today have grown to become larger. So something like this today, the same model might be a lot larger. So it's something that you get more comfortable with, but for its time it did rather not bad. So I can tell you that comfortably it can sit for a long drive, but 5 will it take? Let's see. Actually in the middle, honestly, even though it feels rather cramped at the side. In the middle, it's not too bad. But I'm running out of head space, but I can actually sit pretty comfortably like this, even if there are two rather large people beside me. I think I'd be fine for a medium kind of drive. Obviously for a long road trip, it's not preferable, but this is actually not too bad. Now in the rear of the center console, you do get this little ashtray that's removable so that after you drop your ash inside, you can remove it and throw it outside. Obviously you don't get any charging points, any cigarette lighters, let alone USB ports, non-existent at the time. Now surprisingly though, in the middle you do get a pull-out armrest with hideaway cup holders, which is not bad for Toyota of its time. Yeah, good job. But that's pretty much all you'll get. You also won't get any ISOFIX points because they weren't really in the times back then. Now let's check out the front. Now over by the front, relatively Spartan by today's standards, but you get a leather-clad steering wheel, which is good. And you also get audio controls on your steering wheel. So for a 2008 car, it's rather pretty good. And then you also get instrument cluster that's fully analog, of course, but you get tiny little slits that are in LCD displays. So you can read things like your fuel consumption numbers, your range, as well as your odometer that's fully digital, which is really good for that time. Then other things over here by the center console is your DVD player, and back then DVDs were the way we played our music, so you had to load up CDs. And with this little interesting thing, you can select the tilt, and this is the head unit that it came with. Looks pretty fancy for its time. Other than that, you get your normal aircon controls, very simple. Of course, your gear shift that you can go down to drive 3, 2 or low. So when you're going up mountains or steep inclines, that's something that will help. Of course, you also get a manual pulling handbrake, and then 2 cup holders here that's big enough for my thermos, as well as an adjustable handrest with a cubby space. Another interesting feature is this little, you get not 1 but 2 glove boxes along with your Altis. And let's go see how it drives.
It's really so underwhelming.
So right now we are inside the 1.6 litre VVT-i Corolla Altis 2008, and it runs fine. 121 brake horsepower, 4-speed automatic, 0 to 100 in, I don't know, 14-year-old car, runs fine. It's perfectly pleasant. Aircon, I tell you, aircon is really cold, so it must have been maintained well. But it's a Toyota, so that's one of the things that you get with a Toyota. Right now we're going 90 on the expressway, and it runs fine for a 14-year-old 1.6 litre car. A little bit of jankiness, you hear a little bit of noise from the control arm, a little bit of rattling from the window and the door panel. But considering that it is a 14-year-old car, I think it does really well. It's an Altis. There's a reason why it's the most popular car in the world. Sold the most out of anything else in this world. And that's because there you have it. 14 years on, it's still running, it still works, it's still fine. Almost a bulletproof engine. It's no 2JZ, I'll give you that. It has speed, it's reliable, maintenance is cheap. So if you're looking for a second-hand car on, say, a limited starting budget, you don't want to spend too much on maintenance, you don't want to spend too much on running costs like petrol, this Altis makes a very compelling argument. And I have to say, I'm glad that I bought my car before this, because I would be really compelled to make a switch. Like, this would be a very good choice for a starter car. If you are starting out a family, or all of a sudden you're moving to somewhere really far away from where you're living, you know, your commute to work, this is a very enticing car, and it runs fine. I cannot stop talking about its 14-year-oldness, because if the interior, I'll be honest, it looks it wasn't as well maintained. It looks dusty, the plastic's kind of starting to fall off in its quality here and there, but the moment you step on it, you get reliable performance for a family hauler. Comfortably seating 5, still get your everything that you need, your signals, your mirrors, it's all okay. Just a little bit less flashy. And what else can I say? It's a Toyota thing. That's why there's so many on the road. Toyota Altis 2008 here. Coming up on the right, a later gen Toyota Altis as well. Like, hey bro, didn't see me, but we know in our hearts. But handling wise, it's a family hauler. It's an Altis. It's not a sports car. Don't expect anything crazy, but it does the job well. Even for a 4-speed automatic, it's not sluggish. It doesn't feel rubber bandy like a CVT. But the design of this Altis, this particular one, you can see for that time and age, it was rather forward-thinking. And it took quite a lot of design cues from its more luxurious brother, the Camry. And when this car first came out to our shores, this most popular car in the world, it was priced something like $67,000. Can you imagine $67,000 for a brand new Cat A, super reliable family carrier? And the funny thing is, if you look at it right now, go to CarMart, search up Altis the year before 2009, take a look at the prices, the depreciation. It's still at something like 7,600 for the lowest. Now that's kind of like the price that it came out with, the price that it was put at when it just came out. Now if you're gonna actually adjust for inflation, it goes up to somewhere around 94, 95,000. And actually that's kind of close to what we had, right, a few months ago, right before the COE jump. So actually priced pretty well. Now speaking to its reliability, this Corolla Altis has got 238,000 kilometers on the odometer. Now, it's not too bad, right? 238,000. It's not even the most impressive. I once booked a Grab and I got into an Altis which looked to be around the same age as this. And I guess the Altis was being worked really hard by the Grab driver, because I took a look on the odometer and that one had 500,000 kilometers. And it was running fine. If you didn't look at the age of the interior, you know how the leather, how the plastics naturally age, it does pretty well, and you wouldn't have been able to tell that, oh, it's a really old car. Put the car into its paces, and it's actually also handling not too bad, honestly, for a car like this. And then having the downshift, you could have a little bit of fun with this car. It's pulling enough speed. Honestly, this would make a really good starter car, because it doesn't get you that crazy amount of speed, doesn't let you get that crazy amount of acceleration, but it's still rather fun to bring it around its paces. 1.6 liter VVT-i, and you can really feel when they switch into that profile, and you get a lot more power. Well, not a lot more power, slightly more power. It sounds better. It's made for a little bit more spirited driving. Now this 2008 Corolla Altis, is this a will buy, won't buy, or go try? I think this is a will buy, because for a car this old, it's still running really well. You get power out of it. Practicality, it's cheap, it's affordable, it's reliable, and yet you can still have quite a bit of fun with it, and it carries the family around, no problem. You're buying into that Toyota pedigree, that lineage. So if you're looking for an affordable car, and on a little bit of a budget, so you probably don't want to splash on something that's first hand, this Altis, hey, another one, this Altis makes a very compelling argument, and that's why it's a will buy. Now this has been our review of the Corolla Altis 1.6 2008. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree with our verdict? Let me know down in the comments below, as well as any other cars, used or new, that you'd like to see us try. Let us know down in the comments below and we'll try to get it for you. And we can also see that 80% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you stayed this long, please do consider dropping us a subscribe, as well as follow us on TikTok at sgCarMart. That's all for today. See you on the next one. Bye bye. Leather clad steering wheel. Now over by the front. My ass.